Well, hey there, Grace Church, Pastor Tom. Thursday afternoon, I want to come to you for a few minutes and just share a little bit of my heart, a little bit of what God is doing in our lives as the elders, and some things that we're super excited about as we look into the end of 2020, which has been a pretty crazy year. We acknowledge from the outset that, man, this is a really trying time for many folks, and even folks in our church. And we're all adjusting to new rhythms and new realities, and it can be a bit taxing on us. Yet I'm so encouraged by what I see in our fellowship in terms of how we're relating to one another and choosing to just, in some ways, just put our blinders on and keep the focus on the main thing, the focus on the Great Commission, the focus on the Great Commandment. The focus of Great Commission, of course, is make disciples of all nations. And then the Great Commandment is to love God and love people, love each other. And so we are so encouraged by that reality in our church, and we just want to we want to celebrate that. We want to amplify that as much as possible. Here's a few things that I want to remind you of that God's been doing and showing how He's showing His grace to us in 2020, a year that, man, we would never have expected this kind of abundance to happen for our church. Number one. Since last fall, we had a new members class of foundations course last fall. We introduced some members then, shortly after that, and we finally have introduced some new members here a couple weeks ago. We've had 13 new members join our church since last fall. 13 new members. That's a swath of new families, of course. Of those new members, and with those new members and some new folks coming through our church, we are projecting between 6 and 8 baptisms between now and the end of the year, which is pretty exciting and pretty encouraging. And then on top of that, in a season when things are weird and people feel locked down as a church and everything, we have seen since we restarted and reopened in end of May, oh gosh, gobs of new families coming and visiting our church, and several of them, and if you're on this email stream, you know who you are, plugging in and doing their best to make Grace Church their home. And so we're anticipating them continuing to do so. We're anticipating them to participate in membership courses over the course of the fall, and we'll see what that goes. The Lord only knows how that's going to be, but we're super encouraged by that, and we believe He's got more in store for us even before the end of this year. So, man, God continues to keep growing and strengthening us in every way. Our financial stewardship has been strong in 2020. I've been amazed to see what God's done through your faithfulness in giving. Keep it up, church. Keep it up. Let's finish the year strong and keep on asking the Lord to do this and poise ourselves for something special in 2021. So we have a lot to be thankful for, church. And I wanted to make sure that as your pastor, no matter what we have in front of us, we need to keep that the main thing is keep focused on God's grace to us, His people, but also just the wonderful things that He is doing among us that we do not want to lose sight of. But I just want to let you know, on behalf of the elders, what a joy it is to pastor you. All of us, we get together each and every week and we go, are you kidding me? Look at all the things God's doing, the new families God's bringing to us, the resources God has given us. And we're just sitting there going, we're kind of like what is happening here? What is going on? Yeah, it's so amazing. And then on top of that, just the words of encouragement that we continue to get from our membership here, as you all understand the difficulty and the tightrope of leading anything during this season. Some people are never going to be happy with what you do, and some people are going to be more than happy, and usually you're not really making anyone happy, and that's okay. But as a whole, man, even when we have disagreements about matters in our church, God has shown His faithfulness in that we're still sojourning together. We're on this pilgrimage together as God's people, and trying to do our best to live quiet and peaceable lives. And so that's super exciting and super encouraging to me. So thank you for that. And so with that said, just know that we're continuing to keep our eye on the ball. We are continuing and willing to continue to adjust to whatever the circumstances are. In fact, probably Sunday we will be announcing kind of the next leg of what we anticipate the fall to look like for us as we continue to add in Sunday school, but also continuing to keep our finger on the pulse of the health of our church. We don't feel like the current situation is a viable long-term situation in terms of offering two spaces that are really more about convictions on mass. We really want to make sure that we can bridge those gaps together and those things together and make sure that our body stays focused on the main things. And so we are looking at a few things, and we're excited about them. I think they're going to hopefully be well received. So be in tune for that on Sunday. Now, with all that said, let me highlight a couple things as we look into the next few months. Number one, on Labor Day weekend, we're starting a new series called Citizens and Saints. It's a series through the book of Daniel, and the whole point of it is that how to live as God's people in a land that's not our home. Could there be a more needed sermon series for us as a church, or any church, as far as I'm concerned, during this particular season as we look to this new election cycle, and that's causing all kinds of mess. And then you look at the onslaught of things going on as it relates to COVID-19, and there's just so many things that would want to pull against the unity of the church and the focus of the church and the ministry and mission of the church. We want to make sure that we get back and remind ourselves what God has done through his people in spite of these types of difficulties. Second thing I want to remind us of is we have a great Sunday lined up for us. We have Mission Focused Sunday this week, and that's going to come in two different prongs. Number one, at 9 a.m., we're going to gather in the Fellowship Hall. So you'll enter in through the Fellowship Hall entrance, not through the main entrance, through the Fellowship Hall entrance. For those who are interested, we're going to do a Zoom call with our friends over in Belarus. They're going to have their congregation gathered, and whoever wants to join us for our congregation, we're just going to go ahead and we'll put them in the Fellowship Hall there. If you're wanting to get there, there is no child care at this particular point for this week. We're not starting Sunday morning Bible study for a couple more weeks, but if you are able and wanting to come participate in that, we really want to encourage you to do so. It'll be a great time. We'll go till about 10 o'clock. We'll probably start the Zoom call, probably start a few minutes after we get most everyone in the room. And then we'll go to about 10 o'clock, maybe a little bit before that. And then we'll go out back outside for some fellowship until worship time at 10:30. So it's going to be a great Sunday. We hope that you'll come and join us for this. God has, he's just being, again, showing us great mercy and grace in these days. And then last is get in a group. I cannot say this more clearly and more convictionally. Get into a group. I mean, right now it's imperative that we remain connected to one another. So we have these great men's and women's groups called DNA groups, and we want to make sure that we do our level best to get both members and regular attenders involved in those groups as possible. We got a great study called Sonship that we're going to be working through together as a church, and our leaders are excited about it. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a great discipleship tool for us as we work through this material together, deepen our understanding of our adoption in Christ, and it's going to be really, really, really solid. So those are a few things that those are minimal things. We got Sunday morning Bible study coming up. We got Baptism Sunday coming up. We got a lot of good things happening, church. Let's give God the praise and glory that he deserves. And let's not worry about all these other trivial things, these side note things, and trust the Lord to continue to work in spite of the challenges we face. Okay? I will see you Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. And you guys join us Sunday.